Paintings are not just pictures. Sometimes we may need to figure out what they want to tell us. This is what makes that painting mysterious. That's why today we will embark on a mysterious journey together, and we will find out what is being told to us. Previously, we examined the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper paintings together, and we saw that these were not just ordinary paintings. Each painting can show something different to the viewer. This completely depends on one's perspective. Now it's time to reveal some secrets and intended messages in famous paintings. We are in the 15th century. The painting, created by Filippo Lippi, who was primarily a priest and one of the leading painters of the Renaissance period, contained a mysterious detail that did not escape notice. The painting called Mary and Saint Giovanni. On the right side, we see a person looking up at the sky in astonishment with his dog. When we turn our eyes to where they are looking, we can see an object resembling a flying saucer which has been depicted with particularly bright lights. Was this the painter's technique to tell us about an object he saw at that time? Was the reason why Mary was praying and the little children were hugging each other as if they were scared? That mysterious object standing in the background. You are seeing hundreds of paintings in the Sistine Chapel. Pope II. This painting, completed by the painter Michelangelo in 1512 for Pope Julius, is attributed to the prophet Zechariah. The Pope was not liked by many people because of what he did, and he was also not liked by Michelangelo. We understand this from the following. In this painting, which was made as a compliment by likening him to the Pope, there is actually a heavy insult to the Pope. One of the children standing in the back is making an insulting gesture with his hand. The Pope never knew that he was actually being insulted in this painting, which he proudly looked at every day as he passed by. The painting called Netherlandish Proverbs by Peter Bruegel. In this painting, people can be seen doing different things in a scattered manner. But when you look closer, you can see that each of them is actually depicting a meaningful event and taking on roles that fit it. You can see a woman tying up the devil, another approaching with a knife in her hand, one person bearing something, and another aiming with a crossbow while hiding. But there's no need to worry. All of these are just visual representations of Flemish proverbs. For example, in the lower right corner, we see someone holding one loaf of bread with one hand and reaching for another loaf with the other hand. This illustrates the proverb to make ends meet. Right below, we see someone standing anxiously, having spilled their porridge on the ground. It illustrates the proverb, "There's no use crying over spilled milk," or "better late than never." Besides that, more than 100 proverbs are intended to be depicted in this picture, such as banging your head against the wall, tying the devil in a knot, hoping in vain, or the big fish eats the small fish. You see a beautiful person in the picture, but in the upper right corner, the lines and rough parts seem to have been arranged and completed. When the picture is examined with these observations, it turns out that actually someone else was there. When some layers were cleaned, it was seen that his clothes and face were actually in white tones. When the painting was completely cleaned, it turned out that the young and beautiful person here was actually an old person. The longer fingers were shortened and made more delicate, the eyes were enlarged, and the face was made younger. The reason and time for the painting's alteration are not the subject of our research, but it's obvious that what was intended to be hidden was old age. The painting, titled The Arnolfini Marriage by Jan van Eyck, exhibited at the National Gallery in London. Just as we can tell it's summer in the painting from the trees visible outside and the oranges on the left, we can also understand that this couple is experiencing a sacred moment from the fact that they have taken off their slippers. However, the reason why the couple is dressed so modestly in this summer season is different. It can be seen that there are religious concepts in the small image in the mirror at the back. Based on this, we can also say that they are religious, and that's why they pay attention to the way they dress. But these are extra details. But the main part we need to look at is the mirror. Thanks to the mirror perfectly positioned in the painting, we can see the artwork in 360 degrees. This way, we find two people we can't see in the painting accompanying the couple. I will explain the meaning of the single candle in the painting, the writing in the background, the people in the mirror, and many other details in the next videos. When the Hungarian artist exhibited the painting, Old Fisherman, in 1902, everyone thought it was just an ordinary portrait of an old fisherman. The implication within the painting was understood only after the artist passed away. When the mirroring technique is used on the painting, you see that the fisherman takes on an innocent, elderly appearance. The surroundings are bright and spacious. But when the mirroring is reversed, you see that the old man transforms into a devil. Calm waters suddenly turn into raging waves. The sky becomes filled with dark clouds, and the innocent man is replaced by a demonic being. What this painting is trying to convey is that both good and evil exist within a person, and it is up to the individual to decide which side to choose. We can say that the artist was influenced by Leonardo's works while creating the painting. Some may not have seen this in my last video, the Last Supper painting created by Da Vinci. The knot on the table, if you look at the tablecloth, you'll see that there's a knot only on the right side. There wasn't one on the left. For years, people wondered why it wasn't drawn on the left, but it was clear that this was a clue for us. In fact, Leonardo wanted us to turn the painting upside down and complete the knot on the tablecloth. That way, he showed that he had some secrets he was hiding and wanted us to find them. If we turn the painting upside down and examine it, we add a new dimension to it. The third dimension. Right at this point, when we apply this method to the Last Supper, we see that Leonardo da Vinci hid himself in this painting. This is as frightening as it is exciting. Next, we have Van Gogh's Starry Night painting, which was conceived and drawn while he was in a mental hospital. More circular movements were used while painting the artwork. Bright stars and a sky that seems to be moving. Yes, it looks like it's moving because that's how he wanted it to be. When our minds look at the circular movements in this painting, it makes us feel the need to imagine it moving. So, the painting comes to life in our minds as if it were an animation. Let's give our minds a little exercise to understand this more clearly. Keep looking at the center of the animation you see right now until the painting appears. The painting was actually still, as you know, but you saw it as if it was moving. The lower brain actually sees this still image as animated, just like before. However, we can only visualize this in our imagination. There are many more images waiting to be understood or wanting their secrets to be solved. I'm expecting a big like for this video because the next one will excite you even more. I'm NYGMA. There are many more mysteries we need to solve.